LeetCode 511 gameplay analysis. Write a solution to find the first login date for each player. Return the results table in any order. The result format is in the following example. We're going to solve this easy LeetCode question in both SQL and Python Pandas, taking you line by line. All right, let's solve this question. So our example over here, we have player ID, device ID, event date, and games played. Player ID 1 through 3 over here, devices, which I don't even think we need in this query, event date, and also the amount of games played, which we don't need the games played. We're literally just looking player ID, event date, and the output is the player ID as well as their first login. So let's solve that. The first thing, what I'm going to do is create a select statement. So all we do is select, we're going to grab our player ID over here. And then what we're going to also grab is our event date. And I'm just going to drag these into new lines, not drag, but press enter and populate those next lines, tab those over just for formatting's sake. Next thing, what we're going to do is we're going to have to rank our specific login over here. So what I'm going to do is rank, and then we're going to say over, and then we can partition by. So partition by player underscore ID, order by, and we're going to order by this event date. That way the reason why we partition by and also we do this order by the partition, that way each player has they can have their own ranks based off of this event date. That's kind of how partition specifically works. I'm just going to call this as login rank over here. So login rank, and we're going to say this is from activity. That's what the table name is, activity, and we'll populate this over there. All right, let's run this. It's not the answer, by the way. This is just the first part of it. So that way you guys can see what this table looks like. And I actually have an error. Let's see what it is. Did I misspell activity? I did. See, this is why I just copy and paste in a lot of the videos, because I can never spell correctly. But yeah, wrong answer, obviously. But this time, right, we're getting expected player ID as well as their first login. That's what our solution is supposed to be. But our output, we have player ID, event date, and you can see login rank, right? Like player 1, the first time I logged in is March 1st. Player 2, the first time they logged in was the June 25th, and then player 3, March 2nd. And we have those rankings where each of them have their individual rankings below over there. All right, now let's just put this into a CTE. So we'll say with rank logged in or something like that, rank login as, populate this over here. All right, and we just need a little more SQL to finish this out. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna select our player ID. So select player ID, and we're gonna do event dates. And we need to rename this column because our final answer is first login. So just rename that. So event date as, which is gonna be first login. It just renames it over there. And we're going to say this is from our rank login over here. And lastly, what we're going to do is where login rank equals 1, because we just want everything that populates as the first login. And I'm going to run this. If this works, I'll explain this one more time, how everything just comes together. And I do have a runtime error, and that's because I just have a comma here at the end of first login. So make sure you delete that comma, and it should be good. And it's been accepted. This is my solution. I also submitted it and it works perfectly. So one last time, kind of what we're doing. The first side of it is we're building out a CTE. We're going to player ID, event date, and then we're ranking this login rank when they logged in. And we're partitioning by the player ID, so that way each ID can have specific ranks like 1, 2, 3, etc. And then we build that table, but we're going to use this as a CTE. So then we just query from that new table. We just query the player ID, then we query this event date, and we look specifically where this login rank is going to be 1. That way we can get that first login. All right, we're going to move on to the Python side of things. All right, so Python side of things, pretty easy as well. So what we're going to start off with is activity over here, which is our table name. You can see it's lowercase getting populated into this function. So we're going to say activity. We're going to create a new column on here, and this is just going to be login rank. So login underscore rank. Okay. And then we're going to do equals. We're going to do a group by. So just activity dot group by over here. And the reason why we're doing group by is we have to use this in Python to specifically partition. A little bit odd, your first time doing it, but it's not too bad. So we're gonna put our player ID in here. This is what we're partitioning by, just like our SQL side of things. So partition by the player ID, and then we're gonna be ranking specifically by this event date. So event date, and then what we're gonna do is rank. And what we're gonna do for our method is min. Method equals min. Okay. That way we get the first specific date. Then I'm gonna set up our final rank, which is gonna be the table that we're gonna output at the very end. We're going to say that's equal to activity, this one over here. And we're going to go inside this, I should say data frame, tables with SQL, but data frame over here. And we're going to look specifically at this login rank. So just feel free to copy and paste that again, so you don't make any typos. And we're going to look at where this is specifically 1. All right. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to rename our column. So just like in SQL, how we do as for a column name, we're going to use .rename and pandas. So what we're going to say is our final rank equals final rank dot rename, and then you put over here columns equal, and inside over here you say event underscore date, and we're going to say essentially it is being renamed to first login over here. And one more line of code, we're going to return our final underscore rank, and inside over here we're going to return 2 columns. The first one is going to be our player ID, so player ID, and then our second one is going to be first login, so first underscore login, like that. All right, and that should be the code. I'm just going to run this really quick, make sure I have no typos and anything like that. It's been accepted. Again, like I state, I submit these all before, make sure that they work before I code these videos. So let me explain how this works one more time. So essentially, if we have to partition by in pandas, we use a group by. We're partitioning by this player ID, but we're also looking at this event day. That's what we're ranking. I'm using the method min, so that way the minimum gets 1, then like the maximum will get the highest number and anything like that. Final rank, we're taking a look at the activities where the login rank is 1. We just want to get that first login attempt. Then we're going to rename that event date to first login with this .rename. And finally, we're going to return the data frame that has player ID as well as first login, and that's all done. So that was gameplay analysis 1, LeetCode 511. Honestly, pretty easy question once you understand how you could use a partition and also a group by. But if you weren't too familiar with that, it could be a bit challenging unless you knew what to research. So I hope you guys did find some value. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm uploading multiple data videos every single week as I try to improve my skill set. Speaking of skill sets, if you want to watch even more LeetCode videos, I have a full playlist right over here that I'm developing.